this video, I will explain in detail how you can consistently get this damage against the Everdark version of Fulghor. I'm going to break down the entire run step by step so you can replicate my DPS, and if you are lucky, you might deal even more damage. So let's jump straight into it. I'm gonna be running the following relics: the Dark Knight of the Baron that increases the damage of the critical hits dramatically, and that with each critical hit will grant a few extra runes. I'm also using the follow-up attacks possible when using character skill with the increased rune acquisition for self-analyze, and the physical attack up. This relic is basically an improved version of the whetstone, but if you don't have something better than that, use the whetstone. This build is basically no RNG, but if you have the possibility of improving it, then feel free to do it. And last, I'm using the Wylder's earring. I actually wouldn't replace this relic for any other unless it's absolutely necessary or for a very specific build, because it will grant an additional character skill use, and it also has the effect of spreading fire after using the ultimate attack. And if that wasn't enough, with the last effect we can make a more effective use of our stamina. Now let's jump straight into the run. The first thing we must know is that we need this specific map seed while the Crater Shifting Earth event is active, southwestbound with a fire mega church and a magic fort right in front of it. Sometimes the mega church or the fort will be under the Cataclysm event. If that happens, I strongly recommend you to reload the map until both locations are clear. This is really important because these two locations will provide crucial items and runes to succeed in this run, so they are not skippable and you must complete them fast. Later in the video, I will explain why having this map layout is absolutely necessary. I need you to pay attention on how I am using the skill. What I'm trying to do is using it to defeat 2 or more enemies per use of the skill. I am trying to line up the grapple so I can pull multiple enemies and defeat them as fast as possible. I need you to practice this as much as you can because it's gonna be really helpful when fighting stronger enemies. You can practice this against every type of enemy, and once you master this ability, it's gonna be really helpful. As you can see here, I'm gonna be using it again so I can defeat all these guys a lot faster. Now the next thing we have to do is going to the grace to level our character to level 2. Then we're gonna head straight to the mega church, and we're gonna be using this strategy of using the grapple this way, so we get rid of the enemies a lot faster. In this case I missed, so as you can see that it is a little bit of a waste of time, but it's not a big deal. However, the most ideal is not wasting a single piece of time here, because the more time we have available, the more runes we are gonna gather, and later I will explain why having more runes is really important. As you can see, once again I'm doing this. I need you to know here that we have to be actively looking for some passive effects. As I previously showed you in the relic setup, we are looking to get the most out of the critical hits, so we are gonna be looking for these passive effects. In this case, we have to finish this fight as fast as possible, so I recommend you to start with a critical hit on the back of the monk, then use a few swings of your sword, and using the ultimate ability. Do not be afraid of using it early, because you're gonna have it available when it's necessary again. So use it. It's a lot worse if you don't use it at all. Here we were very lucky and we got another greatsword immediately. If you don't get another greatsword here, the run is not over. You just have to play around your original weapon, and eventually you'll get another greatsword. The cool thing about it is that now we have the grasshopper build available, so we can jump on enemies like without even thinking about it. And this is actually not rare, because with Wylder, compared to with other characters, we can actually get our weapons that are useful for our character. The game is like fixed, so you can get more great swords with this character, while with other characters you are not gonna be getting what you want. In this case, it's a little bit more forgiving when playing Wylder. Now, as you can see, I am constantly using the skill as well to move faster across the map. I recommend you to destroy these enemies quickly. I don't like to go for the third one that is sitting on a corner, because it's gonna take a little bit of extra time, but I like to go for this one that is located up to this platform. And the reason why I'm defeating these enemies is because they will drop a few exalted flesh, which can make your character deal more damage for a limited amount of time. And as you can see, just by defeating 2 of them, we got 4 exalted flesh. That is obviously a good RNG, but if with a bad RNG you are gonna get at least 2, you know? So it's not a bad idea to do that. Now we are looking for another Evergaol key. As far as I know, I didn't get one previously, so we are looking for 2 Evergaol keys. If I'm not wrong, in this run, I didn't get. I only get 1. So I will explain later why is that how that affects the run. Because for the run, the ideal or the most proper or the best will be having 2 Evergaol keys. Now, defeat these enemies as fast as you can, and as well against this guy you can also use your ultimate on charge. I recommend you to use it on charge, because it will be a waste to use it completely charged just to defeat this Crystallian. And now if you pay attention, we got another greatsword here, but as in this case I already have the weapons I needed, so I'm not gonna take it. And the reason why I didn't take the other greatsword is because I am looking for specific passive effects, as I previously told you. And as you see, now I have my first stack of the improved critical hits, which is 12%. It's actually really good to be in a really normal weapon. In rare weapons, you can even get a 24% increase in your critical hits. The rings are really closing, and as I didn't find another stone sword key, then I'll just move to this Evergaol. This is the Evergaol you want to finish, because now we are trying to play around the location where Libra is going to appear. Now let's talk about why this map is extremely important. Nightreign has a limited amount of map seeds per boss fight, and when a shifting earth event is active, the seeds are reduced to only 5 possible spawns and map layouts. Recently, you must have heard that these game's world events like Morgoth's invasion, for instance, are actually not random. They are designed to happen in specific seeds. In this case, by having this map seed, we can predict the course of the demon event will happen a few seconds before the first ring has closed. Libra can actually appear in 2 locations, in the lake or in the edge of the map, which will be a bit inconvenient but not that bad. What matters is to deal with Libra as fast as possible. And here is where we have to be very smart, because if we play too slow or too fast, Libra might change his location. Against this enemy, just use the grasshopper strategy. Just jump and break his stance, critical hits, and that's gonna be your strategy against this guy. It's really helpful that you can stagger most of his attacks. In this case, we had a little bit of bad RNG and we got attacks that we are not able to stagger. But this boss fight is not a big deal. And as we have the relic that increases our critical hits and the passive effect that we just got, our critical hits are massive. Also, I took the passive effect that increases our runes acquisition by 10% instead of the 10,000 runes, because in this case we are seeing the game from the perspective of getting more runes to deal more damage. So if we choose having 10,000 runes immediately over 10% increase in general, it's gonna be a bad decision. Now we are gonna be facing the Knight's Cavalry boss fight. If you wish, you can skip this boss fight, but I do not recommend you to do this, because as I previously told you, we need to gather as much runes as possible. So by defeating this boss fight, we are going to obtain an additional amount of runes, and we might get a decent passive effect from the weapons he's gonna drop. Now this fight has to be finished as fast as possible, because you are gonna get the curse of the demon while fighting this boss fight. And if you take too long, you're gonna be losing valuable time to gather more runes. In this case, I think I defeated it a little bit early, so I need to look for enemies to keep fighting. The problem with this event, as I previously told you, is that it can appear on 2 different locations. If it appears in the lake, it's a lot better for us because it's a better way to use our time than if he appears on the edge of the map, where we have to look for that guy and travel a longer distance. There are a few things that we can do in order to make Libra spawn closer to the Evergaol we left, which is the lake spawn. We have to be as far as possible from the Evergaol. If you are still fighting the Knight's Cavalry, try to pull it away from the Evergaol, which means the Evergaol is in the west side of the map. You wanna go to the east side of the map as much as possible while fighting this boss fight. If you already defeated the boss and Libra hasn't shown up yet, what you have to do is take aggro on whatever enemy you have close. What you don't want to do is running towards the Evergaol, because the guy will run away from you and will spawn in the edge of the map. That is something you don't want, because that will cost you a lot of time that we need to invest for the latest part of the day 1 of this run. And now we just have to settle the deal. What you have to do here is pay the 15,000 runes and then take the Symbol of Avarice. This is really important because with the Curse of the Demon or the Demon's Plating, we are gonna be getting more damage with the runes we acquire. That is why we need this map seed, because we can predict the Libra appearance, and this is what's gonna make our damage to be consistent with this strategy. I know it might sound a little overwhelming, but it's actually easier than you might think it is. You're gonna get this hit with a really high frequency. And now once Libra has turned into aggressive mode, you just have to attack him like it was another enemy. Just be careful with the spells that he casts, because if he hits you, you have the cheat death ability, But if you get a Madness proc, even if you have cheat dead, you're gonna get destroyed. So be careful with that part. And now once you get the first crit, one more hit and use your ultimate, completely charged. And with the next crit hit, he's gonna be done. Or at least, or almost dead, you know? And that is a fast Libra course, a fast Libra event done, Libra kill as well. We get a decent talisman, and we also get a decent amount of runes. So now we can take our character to level 7, and now what we are doing is that we are going to be heading straight into the castle. We are going to the castle to farm whatever it is there. In this seed, sadly, we don't have the Crucible Knights. We are going to have always the Banished Knights, which is not bad. Bad will be having to deal with the trolls, because they like coordinate to attack you at the same time. But in this case, having the Banished Knights is actually good. It's always gonna be the Banished Knights. Something that you have to know is that the map layout is the same for everything. For enemies, for boss fights, and for events. The only thing that will change is the drops you might get. That is the only thing that is gonna change. But everything is predictable here. So initially you might struggle to perform this strategy, but once you start practicing, you're gonna notice that you can do the things a lot faster. For instance, the first thing you start with this strategy, you will notice that even with these two knights, your second ring is gonna start closing. Because you are doing it slow even if you believe you're not doing it slow. But once you get a little bit of practice, you're gonna start doing it a little bit faster. And now, something that I already know here is that I don't have the other Evergaol key. So I don't have to take the detour to go to the other Evergaol close to where the ring is gonna close. I'm gonna show you later what is the path you have to take if you actually get the other Stone Sword key. But in this case, as we don't have it, we are gonna be running another strategy. Obviously, if you get the Stone Sword key, your runes are going to be increased a little bit better. But if you don't get it, it's not gonna be bad. It's actually pretty much the same. But having the Stone Sword key is a little bit better. Now in this case, what I'm doing is clearing the knights, which are the most important enemies here. In this case, I was a little... I was doing it a little fast, so I could have even taken more time to get the other regular knights for a little bit of extra runes. But I'd rather just to be a little bit like cautious, you know? So instead of being overconfident and wasting time on other enemies, even if I know I have a little bit of extra time, I just like to go for the most important ones first. In this case, we're gonna do the opposite. Line up your targets. As you can see, I line up the targets, and then I left the main knight for later. Because if the knight starts attacking you while the others start attacking you as well, you're gonna be in very bad problems. And here it's pretty simple. As you saw, now the ring is closing. The thing is that we are doing it a little bit slow. Not bad, but it's a little bit slow. The most ideal scenario is that you are already finished with this enemy and then the ring starts closing. In this case, the ring starts closing and then we finish with the enemy. Now, jump attack and ultimate. This is actually a must-do thing, because otherwise the lion is gonna be jumping around like a maniac, and you really don't want that. Now, time for the knight, and if he's with the shield up, just go for the jump attacks. If he's with the shield down, use your grapple. That's what we are gonna do with the knights that do not have a shield. In this case, he didn't pull the target because he was doing a special attack. But now, it's pretty simple. Just grasshopper strategy and look for the passive effects you want. You want power stance buffs or skill buffs, or the best will be critical hit buffs. That is especially what we want, because that's gonna be our strategy to deal the max damage possible against the Everdark Fulghor. Now, despite I was going a little late against the enemy on top of the castle, I didn't do it that bad, because now I am capable of even taking a little bit of time to buy some stuff for the merchant. These things that I am buying from the merchant are not gonna be used immediately. I am buying these aromatics to use them later. And as you can see, I also bought one weapon that gives the power stance buff, because I am power stancing to greatswords. So I am actually going to take advantage of that buff. And up to this point of the run, what we will be thinking about is to going for the next Evergaol. But as we don't have the Evergaol key, we just have to go to defeat the regular enemies. What is cool about this is that we have churches and multiple graces close by, so even if the ring is closing, we can take advantage of that and not running out of HP. So now I'm going to take these enemies with the same strategy to not lose time. And in this grace you have to level up to 11, don't go further because having more runes is more important than leveling up at this point of the match. And as I don't have the Evergaol key, I'm gonna take this enemy. If I had the Evergaol key, I will save my ultimate and I will take the following road you are gonna be seeing on a screen. In this road, what we try to do is to use the ultimate on the knight that is gonna appear to actually take the extra runes that we are gonna be getting from that fight and the passive effect that will grant. But for that, you need the Evergaol key, and that is something that can be completely RNG. Sometimes you might even struggle to get a single stone sword key. And if this is the case and you actually get 2 Evergaol keys and you already used one on the previous Evergaol, this is the strategy you have to use to defeat this Evergaol boss as fast as possible. You're gonna pull your grapple onto the boss and you're gonna use your ultimate to immediately land a critical hit. This will work consistently most of the times, but in a few rare occasions the stupid knight will teleport back to your character and you will not be able to hit with the ultimate. That is actually really bad, because now you're wasting a little bit of time and the ring is closing. And I didn't notice, but once the ring is completely closed and the night boss has started to appear, or the enemies that appeared previous to the boss fight, the graces are not gonna be available at all. This is not completely bad, because you have a church next to the Evergaol and you're gonna have enough heals to get into the ring. But something that could happen is that you actually have to heal during the boss fight and you don't have any more flasks and you will not have enough time to go to the church. And there is where your run ends. But now let's go back to the run where we didn't get the other Evergaol key. And we are back at it and we have to take these enemies down, because they are going to drop a similar amount to what we will have with the Evergaol. It is like 15,000 less runes, but it is not dramatically bad, you know. You can actually just if you even think that taking the Evergaol is too risky, you can skip it and go for these easier enemies. It's actually just the same. For instance, if I got the Evergaol, I ignore these enemies, but now as I don't have it, I try to compensate a bit of those runes with these enemies. But once again, it's not really important, it's not a must. Now watch out with your heal, because as you saw I was about to throw the run just because I didn't pay attention. And this is quite simple. This part is just defeating the night boss, and I'm gonna use this part of the video to tell you a few things that you might need to understand about this. The run is gonna be consistent as long as you know what is gonna happen. So the first time you try it, it's gonna be a little bit more complicated than it looks. This one is actually my last run with this strategy, so let's say that I have already a bit of practice with it. But the first time I tried this strategy, I felt like the time was running really fast. So that might make you feel that you're not doing it well, but the only thing that you have to do is practice it a little bit more to defeat Libra faster, to defeat the Banished Knights faster, and to move faster across the map with this character. You really need to be using your skill constantly to move faster in order to have enough time to do the things. Now the Centipede Demon has appeared, and the strategy here is so simple. I do not recommend you to use the ultimate here, because we are gonna save it to fight the next enemy. The next enemy we are gonna fight is a Royal Revenant in the basement of the castle. And as you know, that guy, even if he's not completely difficult, it might actually be a problem if you start taking a lot of hits and he defeats you, because that can happen. It has happened to me, and it might happen to you. So save your ultimate and save one Exalted Flesh or whatever buff you have to fight the Royal Revenant. Once we have defeated the Centipede Demon, we will have to choose which passive effect we want to take. In this case, I was a little bit lucky, so I have the increased enemy damage after critical hit. This is gonna be massive because we are aiming to land critical hits. In this case, it's not gonna be crucial for the last boss fight, because my idea or the target is to deal a lot of damage with a single critical hit on the boss fight. That the next part is gonna be pretty much so easy. But for the rest of the run, where we are not fully prepared or not with a higher amount of runes, having that extra damage after dealing a critical hit is absolutely amazing. Now what we are doing here is just moving as fast as possible to the basement of the castle, to fight the Royal Revenant. We are gonna be using a simple strategy where we are gonna be pulling ourselves to the Maniac. With the skill of the weapon, we are gonna coat the weapon on fire, and we are gonna start jumping like an idiot. That might sound like a odd strategy, but it's what works, and I recommend you to do it this way. Some people might do it facing the Revenant in front of it, but I recommend you to try to land the hit sideways so the guy starts confusing a little bit, and you can do it a lot faster. This is actually my best execution of this strategy against this guy. After the first critical hit, you have to use your ultimate immediately to land another critical hit and finish with him. This is actually my best execution of this, so you might struggle a little bit if it is the first time trying this strategy. And now you have to level only to 12, because it's gonna give you the best balance of damage between your level and the runes you have acquired. Now we're just gonna finish with the enemies that we have left, and we go for the Nightreign bird that is in the top of the castle. As you can hear, I already know what is gonna happen, because it's about because it's predictable. That is the advantage of this strategy, and it's actually fun. You might believe like, oh no, what is the fun if you already know what's gonna happen? But it's really interesting because it's like a way to improve your strategies each try. And this is gonna be available as long as they have the Darkdrift Knight available, the Everdark version. We have a similar strategy for the regular version of the Darkdrift Knight, but I will explain that in another video if you enjoy this one. And as you can see, I'm trying to get everything I can within a realistic range of traveling distance and time management. What you have to do here is going crazy on the enemies. Do not be afraid of taking risks, because Wylder is one of those characters that allow you to be stupid. Now, I recommend you to always take a look to the drops of the enemies, because the passive effects might come from stupid weapons. Like in this case, this knight dropped a shield, and I was about to ignore it, but I decided to check it, and it was a passive effect that I was looking for. Another 12% that is gonna multiply with the relic effect and with the other axe that we previously got to land an even better critical hit. Now we are about to face one of the toughest enemies in this run, which is the Nightreign bird, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna be doing it slightly better than me, because I have a little bit of practice, but I did it really bad in this run. Now, as you can see, I have a holy damage greatsword in my left hand. The smarter thing here would have been putting the holy weapon in my right hand armament. This is a really unlucky start because the guy was looking at me immediately, so I didn't manage to get an initial hit, and there I got greedy, and instead of running smart, I try to attack the guy. I do not recommend you to use the camera lock-on this target, because it doesn't work well. But as you can see, our damage is pretty decent thanks to the runes we have accumulated. Now, once he starts doing that attack, just use your ultimate and he's gonna be out of the game. It's a pretty easy way to defeat enemies as long as you are a little bit aware of their moveset. Initially, you might feel like you're not getting the things as you are seeing it in the video, because that is how I felt once I learned this strategy. But now we have completed the Nightreign bird fight, and we got the Helfensteeple greatsword. I already got this greatsword, so it's like a direct upgrade to my regular sword, so I replaced that one. And now I'm gonna be fighting the gargoyle. But the best talisman we could be getting with this strategy is the dagger talisman. In previous runs I've gotten the dagger talisman, but I haven't completed the run, or I didn't get good weapons or something, you know. So in this case we have two passive effects that help us with the target of this build, and we have the decent drops. We don't have great drops, but at least decent. And now it's time to fight the gargoyle. This enemy can be really annoying and can consume a lot of your time, so try to master it as much as you can. If you can play the regular Elden Ring, go and practice it a little bit with a similar build like this one, and you will notice that it's actually really good. Actually, in this game is where I realized that power stance into two greatswords with jump attacks is really good. I didn't know that. In this point of the video, I did another mistake, because I had a holy damage weapon in my left hand that I wasn't gonna use anymore, especially because the final boss isn't weak to holy damage, it's actually resistant to holy damage. So the best thing I could have done there was taking the Death Poker and replacing my Inseparable Sword, because the passive effect that the Inseparable Sword has wasn't even good for this strategy. And now we're gonna be fighting the Falling Star Beast. This enemy is actually complicated, but if you try to bait his charge attack into this giant rock, you're gonna be getting a free critical hit. And with a build that is based on critical hits, you're gonna take chunks of his HP, or whatever he is, you know, or she is, I don't care. It's a beast, dude, who cares? Now you have to finish it. As you notice, I am being careful because this enemy can deal a lot of damage, but if you follow this strategy, it's gonna be really easy. And here comes another important decision. We can take whatever weapon we want here, but I recommend you to get the Dragon Great Claw if you can. If you don't get the Dragon Great Claw, which deals lightning damage, which is the weakness of this boss fight of Fulghor, then I recommend you to grab whatever has an increased damage on critical hits, like the Executioner's Great Axe or like the Misericord. But now we're gonna pick the Dragon Great Claw specifically because it has lightning damage and it scales of strength despite being a lightning weapon. It's actually interesting how the scale things work in this game. And now we are gonna take down this Demi-Human Queen, and as you notice, I saved the ultimate to be able to do this. But if you're struggling with the Falling Star Beast, be sure to use your ultimate against that guy, because this one is actually not complicated. It's just a little bit annoying because it has a bunch of those idiots screaming and attacking you, being annoying basically. They do not deal a lot of damage, but they are annoying and they might stress you if you are already with the pressure of time. Because right now I am good in time. The ring is barely closing and we are already going to the Shifting Earth event. If the ring has closed as soon as you finish the Falling Star Beast, do not go for the Demi Queen Human, just go straight to the Shifting Earth event, otherwise you're not gonna have enough time. And as I previously told you, I have enough time so I can take down these enemies as well really quick. It's not gonna take a lot of time. And we go for the next enemies. This road is the same road we take with Iron Eye when we want to get the early legendary weapons. But in this case, we are gonna be doing it a lot faster because we're dealing a lot of more damage. And just try to not get greedy, do not be a lot stupid because you might get staggered, and just because you want to do the things faster, you might end up doing it slower. And here, do not forget to take these buffs because they boost your physical damage. So it's a little, it's good. Or your stamina. I don't know what exactly does it buff. I think it's your physical damage and your fire damage, but it might also buff your stamina. As you saw, we finished with that guy even faster than with the previous guy. So it's a great strategy to be taking those buffs as much as possible. Now we got a legendary drop here, but we don't need this legendary drop here. So we take the runes, because that is what is going to increase our damage, the runes. Even if we take back the improved jump attacks, it is going to only accelerate the things in this last part of the run, but it's not gonna be better for the last boss fight. And we are already good in time. Those are decisions that you have to make depending on how you like to play, but I recommend you to always take the runes buffs unless it's a critical hit buff, or if it's a legendary weapon like the Marae's Executioner Sword or the Grafted Blade. But now we are gonna be facing this boss fight, and in order to do it faster, just pull yourself to the big boy and use your ultimate there. The other guys will start attacking you immediately, and they are gonna take the explosion as well, and the idiots will take the fire too. So you're gonna be finishing with this fight in seconds. And the cool part about doing the things faster is that you can take a little bit of more time to read the passive effects that you have available, allowing you to construct your build a little bit better. Because one mistake I did while trying this strategy is that in order to have enough time, I actually ignored a lot of passive effects and just keep moving, grabbing the dormant power and just going, you know, instead of actually looking for some passive effects. And as in this case I have a little bit of extra time, I even take the advantage of taking one of these guys. This is a way of compensate the fact that we didn't do the Evergaol, but we are gonna be having even more runes than if we have done the Evergaol, because we are doing it well time-wise. And as you can see, as soon as I have the chance of using the skill to pull myself towards the objective of this run, I do it. Just use your skill, and I even have time to loot and see if I get a better passive effect for my run. Also, we have a rare weapon and an epic weapon. We don't have two epic weapons, and our damage is completely stupid. Now against this guy I was a little bit unlucky because he started doing that stupid attack where he starts running, and I don't have the ulti available right now, so I just have to play around it. But if he doesn't do this, just use the Grasshopper build and you will break his stance really fast. Grasshopper build, I mean Grasshopper strategy. And he's gonna be stance broken in a few seconds. And as you know, stance break means free critical hit. Free critical hit means a lot of damage, especially with the passives we are trying to use. I'm pretty sure with this crit he's gonna be out. Yep, he's gonna be out with that crit hit. That is massive. It is not normal to see this type of critical hits in this game. And the drops of this guy were awful as well. I didn't even know which to take. So I decided to now take a look to what I was able to use to land the most damage possible in one single critical hit. And the obvious decision was the Dragon Greatclaw, because it had the highest AR of all my weapons with lightning, which is the weakness of the boss. So there is nothing to think about it, just run it and it's gonna be your best choice. Now, if the ring starts closing while you are still fighting that guy, it is not bad, it's actually good. But as I previously told you, we did this run cleanly. We have a good amount of extra time to keep destroying a little bit of extra enemies. Once I took the Spirit Hawk, the ring started closing. Now I'm gonna show you what you can do if you have a little bit of limited time. You can actually strafe with the Spirit Hawk to land closer to the Demi-Human Queen, but that might be a little bit risky sometimes, and as this run was a little cleaner than my previous runs, then I just decided to take the safe path and just go this way. The idea of this is improving your routing as much as you can possibly do, so you get the most enemies you can. I actually waited here a little bit so some enemies started attacking me and take them out with the boss at the same time. Because even these dumb enemies are dropping 1,000 runes, and this is probably one of the luckiest things I ever had in this game. This is the first time I got the Blasphemous Blade, and there I made another stupid decision because I dropped my power stance buff. I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna take back that spear because I realized that I should have just replaced that holy weapon, and I did. So I took back the spear that increases the power stance damage, and I dropped the other greatsword, which at this point of the video was useless. But do not underestimate your loot early. At this point of the run, you are more than ready to start making your build more with the final purpose in mind, which is the land a massive critical hit. Because against the last boss, we are not gonna even use the power stance build a lot. We might use 2 jump attacks and maybe that's gonna be it, but it's not gonna be like really important. What is important is your critical hits and being able to use your ultimate properly. That is something that I strongly recommend you to do as well. Do not use your ultimate against the day 2 boss fight, because you are gonna need it against the final boss. Now you can see that we have managed our time very well in this run, because we even have time to go for these idiots that are here, when most of the time we are not gonna be capable of doing that. Most of the time we are gonna be finishing with the enemies that are close there, where I'm hitting right now, and that's gonna be it. You're gonna have to face the boss fight, and you are gonna be having around like 600,000 runes. But in this case we have already almost 800k runes, which is absolutely amazing. As the average runes you might get with this strategy are like, in the best case before facing the boss fight, 600k, or no, I am exaggerating a little bit. I think the best it might be before facing the boss fight, 650k or 700k if you play it properly. If you played it like with a few mistakes, you are gonna be still having like 500k runes, which is amazing. It's absolutely not bad. It's really good, and that is gonna help you run a lot. Your damage is gonna grow dramatically. But now in this case, I made a few mistakes before facing the boss, so I actually made my life harder, because I just needed to use the skill, but I started swapping weapons for no reason. So I wasted a little bit of time there, and I missed one of my skill uses, because I am stupid, honestly. Sometimes I try to play better, but sometimes I just do stupid stuff. 'Cause I'm human, dude. I'm only human after all. Yeah. So that's why this fight is a lot longer than it should be. And in this case, the drops of this boss fight were a little bit, were great if you're fighting normally. If you were like, dude, this is the first time I'm gonna face this boss and I need more HP or I need more stamina. Great drops. But in this case, where we are looking to get the most out of our damage, then the drops are just regular. Now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna take this buff once again, and we're gonna go immediately for the boss fight, because that buff lasts a lot of time, like an entire minute. So it's gonna be enough time to perform what we have to perform against the final boss fight. And this is how we are gonna do it. We're gonna be sure that we have our full HP, in case we have some buff that increases our damage with full HP. In this case I don't have it, but I just made sure I did. I had 900k runes, but I had to buy Exalted Flesh. And now to do this, we are gonna use the Exalted Flesh and the Uplifting Aromatic. In this game, even if both in Elden Ring are body buffs, in this game they are gonna stack. And here what we will normally use is a follow-up attack of the Greatsword after pulling ourselves with the weapon. But in this case we have the Blasphemous Blade and we can use the skill. And as you see, you cannot deal a lot of damage with the skill, but the damage is going to come from this massive critical hit. And that is basically what this strategy is about. You might even defeat this guy easier with the Iron Eye if you got a Marace Executioner Sword or a Grafted Blade, but that is even rarer or even more complicated to happen than just trying this strategy a few times, you know? I already defeated this boss multiple times with this strategy, sometimes faster, sometimes slower, but every run with a lot of damage. And I'm gonna be showing you the results of these fights after finishing with this one. Because it's not about like flexing, but I did it without taking a single hit. And if you remember that in my previous videos of the regular Elden Ring, I tend to do that a lot and I really enjoy it. And we did it this time successfully. And if you pay attention to my passive effects, in this case we only got 2 critical hits passive effects that increase the damage of the critical hits. That is stacked, of course, with the Dark Knight of the Veyron relic. But now I'm gonna be showing you what happens when you have more critical hit stacked together, and this is the peak damage I could get with this strategy. And I am really tired of trying this strategy, because you might believe, nah, this guy is just showing us his one-time run that he wants to pretend that is consistent, but no, it's actually consistent. I've defeated this guy a lot of times, and I'm gonna be showing you a bunch of clips on how many times you can get this strategy successfully. And as you saw in the intro of the video, there are a lot of possible scenarios that might happen. And that was my peak damage, but now I'm gonna show you the peak damage a Japanese player can get with this strategy. He got the Bonfire buff stack, he got the Exalted Flesh buff stack, he had the Uplifting Aromatic buff stack, and the freaking Jellyfish Shield buff stack. So that was a 4 buff stack together. And I'm pretty sure he also had the improved critical hits passives in multiple of his weapons. And with that you have to add that he had a Misericord on the Fire Affinity, which also take a benefit from the Uplifting Aromatic, from the Bonfire buff, and for the Jellyfish Shield. So it's an absolutely broken setup. I am not demeriting what he did, because it's absolutely insane that he pulled off this strategy consistently. And to get this RNG, it's gonna take a lot of times, because to get my multiple critical hits passive effects took a bunch of tries as well. So I cannot imagine how many tries you have to take into this game to actually get this amount of good stuff for your ultimate purpose. But that's it from me, guys. If you have any question, feel free to leave it in the comment section and I will be answering that question as fast as I possibly can. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, guys. My name is Carlos and I'll see you in the next one.